In India today, from famine and political ferment, from the clash of wealth and poverty, the loud antagonisms of race and religion, from new knowledge and old belief, from the contradictions in men's lives, a nation is being born.
Yet still the life of India is in the villages, whose 300 million peasants, sunk in the squalor of their remote and rural peace, live laboriously to a pattern of traditional and unchanging ways. The life of India is in the villages and the fields, where the earth is tilled with slow, hungry oxen, and a plough whose design has not altered in 1,000 years. From the rich land comes a poor living, one with an extravagance of work. Much work, little food, and the long summer's brutal heat age the peasants before their time. For the most aged, there is no rest, and work weans the smallest children from their play. To these things they submit, knowing no other ways nor possessing the means for any different kind of life. To live is an achievement of which there is little to be remembered. The days pass monotonously away, and it takes almost all a man's life to earn his living. The women bear many children, and like the wives of peasants everywhere, poverty makes hardship of their housework. And for each too there is some skill to be learned, and much time to be spent on the customary village crafts. Here life costs less than machinery, and often manpower is cheaper than the labor of beasts. The towns claim the peasant's produce. It must go to the market, to the workshop, to be bought and sold and worked upon and changed. The peasant is the producer, but most of his product goes from him, a journey that takes it into another world.
The peasant is poor and hungry just because he has nothing but his muscles to serve him. His produce isn't worth much until merchants and manufacturers have made it into something. Work gives use and value to raw material, and even the crudest machines save the work of many men. The peasant does everything for himself, and does it the hard way. Once he's sold his produce, then it's the turn of the factory, of the places where work is organized and broken down into separate operations, so that each man is something of a specialist. From workshops and an organization of buying and selling as primitive as these came our own industrial civilization. Now that's more like it. All very well talking about the villages and fields being the basis of Indian life, but this is happening in India too. And the men operating the machines are exactly the same sort of people as you find in the field, sweating over their wooden plows. It's no use sentimentalizing about machines destroying old crafts and old ways of living. Here, they're a living and growing force that's going to mean a lot of changes for the better.
Tradition is an invisible tyranny that binds the villager to his heritage of poverty, dirt, ignorance, and disease. Yet also tradition makes the village into a living community whose members share not only toil and hardship, but dances and songs, religious ceremonies and ritual feasts that enrich and give purpose to their lives. These are pleasures not known in prosperous and more sophisticated worlds.
This is India too, and these transplanted city pleasures flourish like hothouse flowers. The African music, tamed by Tin Pan Alley, unleashed again as Western culture. It's hard to understand what all this adds up to. The ants swarm in the streets, the facades of buildings whose design reflects the tastes of a developed industrial civilization, the hospital buildings and the impersonal dramas of the operating table, the colleges of agricultural science and the experimental plantations, the laboratories for research into atomic structure. How are these able to flourish in the same land and century as the villages rooted in the past, whose people's minds dwell in a fairy tale of gods and demons? These men are the human material of a yet unsolved contradiction between two ways of life. Their future and the future of the myriad villages from which they come will inevitably be shaped by Western methods of industry and agriculture. But such technical changes can only arise from changes in men's minds. It is this mental and material transformation that forms the background to the great political developments happening in India today.